Hey guys, this is a video lesson for counting lesson 4, dotted half notes. This is for anyone who missed it when we did it in class, or if you just need a refresher, you are welcome to watch this video anytime you need it. First thing you need to do is go into Google Classroom, make sure you open up counting lesson 4, open up the PDF document, and then open it up in Kami so that you can annotate on it. What you see on the screen right now is what you should see on your screen whenever you pull it up. So we've got yellow boxes, and each of those yellow boxes we're going to be typing in. Go to the left, click on the T for text box. You can choose your size and your color. I'm going to stick with black. Now the first thing you should look at is the words between the pink lines here. It tells you what the dot does to whatever note that it's next to. So this particular lesson is about dotted half notes, but there are other types of dotted notes, and you need to know what the dot does so that you can understand how they work when you see a dot next to a different type of note. The dot adds half of the value to the note that it is dotting, or the note that it is next to. So then we have our symbol here. This is what a dotted half note looks like. It's a half note with a dot next to it. And we know that a half note gets 2 toe taps. So when you have a 2 with a dot next to it, you take half of 2. What's half of 2? 1. And then you add them together. So our half note plus the dot, which is half of the half note, equals the total beats that a dotted half note gets. So click on the text box where it says 2 plus 1 equals blank beats. And we're going to type a number 3 because 2 plus 1, basic math, is 3. And a dotted half note gets 3 toe taps. Continue reading to the right. Also important for you to note that there is no special rest that coincides with the dotted half note. For example, whenever we have a quarter note, we also have a quarter rest, and they are the same value, 1. When we have a half note, we also have a half rest, and they are both 2. When we have a whole note, we also have a whole rest, and they are both 4. You do not have a dotted half rest. There is no dotted half rest typically in music. So when you have a dotted half note, it gets 3 toe taps. But in order to make a rest that is 3 toe taps, you will normally see it written one of these 2 ways, either with a half rest, which is 2 toe taps, and a quarter rest, which is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3, or 3/4 rest, 1, 1, 1. That adds up to 3. That's normally how you're going to see it written whenever the composer wants you to rest for 3 toe taps. Continuing down, write in the counts by filling in the yellow boxes below each note or rest. Now, in this example, we have no rest, so we don't have to worry about parentheses or anything in this particular example. Start off on the left and read to the right, just like we always do in music. We've got our treble clef, and then we've got our ding, ding, ding dotted half note. Go ahead and click in the yellow box below, and we're going to write in the counts. Now, we already know that a dotted half note gets 3 toe taps, and whenever you're reading music, the very first thing in the measure starts on beat 1. So we're going to type 1 and. Now, still in the same box, we're going to type 2 and then we're also going to type 3 and that is 3 beats. So that dotted half note gets 1 and 2 and 3 and. It gets all 3 of those beats or toe taps. Then we're going to go to the next yellow box. Look at the symbol above it. We've got a quarter note. Quarter note gets 1 beat. And we already have in the measure 1 and 2 and 3 and. So what comes next? 4. So we're going to type 4 and. So that measure is complete. Next measure, let's move to the next text box, and we know it's the new measure because it crosses the bar line. That takes us to the next measure, and that also tells us that we start over again in our counting at 1. Look at the symbol above the yellow text box in the next measure, and we have a quarter note. Quarter note gets 1 beat. It's going to be one and. Go to the second yellow box and look at the symbol above the box. We have the dotted half note. Dotted half note gets 3 toe taps. We already have one and in the measure, so we're going to keep counting. The dotted half note gets 2 and, it also gets 3 and it also gets 4 and. Why? Because the dotted half note gets 3 toe taps. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And now we have the counts written for both of those measures. Now we're going to go back to the beginning and we're going to count and clap it. We've got our metronome set to 72. I'll clap it first. You listen and follow along with your eyes. Follow the music. My toe is tapping to the beat. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now I'm going to count and clap. Down, up, here I go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. So when it's 3 toe taps long, just like when we have a half note and we clap it and hold it to give it 2, or we have a whole note and we clap it and hold it and hold it and hold it to give it 4 beats. When we've got a dotted half note, we have to hold it for 3 beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and then we move on to the next thing in the measure. I'll clap it and count it again. Follow along with your eyes. Down, up, here I go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. Do it with me, please. Your toe is now tapping if it wasn't already. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, hit, 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 hit. Keep that toe going. Let's get our clappers ready. Eyes on the screen, count and clap with me. Here we go. Down, up, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. Let's do it again. Down, up, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. How did you do? If you did good and you're ready to go on, keep on watching. If you need a little bit more practice, pause the video, rewind it, and do that section again. Now we're going to be moving down the page. Now the next set of directions, write in the counts below and then submit a flip grid of you counting and clapping it with your metronome set at 72. So we're going to write in the counts together, and then we're going to clap and count it a few times together. And then your assignment is to go to Flipgrid and record it and send it to us. So let's start here at the beginning on the left-hand side on the first text box. So we look at the first yellow box, we add our text box, look at the symbol above it, we got a quarter note. What always comes first in the measure? 1 and. Go to the next text box, the next yellow box. What's the symbol above? We have a quarter rest. How many toe taps does a quarter rest get? 1. And whenever we have a rest, we start it with an open parentheses, shift 9. And then what number comes after 1 and? Yeah, you're gonna type 2 and then close your parentheses, shift 0. Going over to the next yellow box, look at the symbol above. We have another quarter note. What number comes next? 1 and 2 and 3 and. So we're going to type 3 and, no parentheses because it's a note and not a rest. Go to the next yellow box, look at the symbol above it. There's another quarter note. What number is it going to be? It's going to be a 4 because we already have 1 and 2 and 3 and. So we're going to type 4 and in that box. Then we cross over the bar line, so we go into a new measure. So we start over again at 1. Look at the yellow box, look at the symbol above it. That's our new note, our new dotted half note. How many toe taps does it get? 3. We're at the beginning of the measure, so we start on 1. So it gets 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 3 toe taps. Go to the next yellow box, look at the symbol above it. What do we have? Quarter note, 1 toe tap. We already have 1 and 2 and 3 and. So in this box, we're going to type 4 and. Moving on to the next measure, we crossed another bar line here. We went into the next measure, so we start again at 1. And look at the symbol above the yellow box. What do we have? It's a rest, and it's sitting on top of the line, third line, and it's sitting on top. So it is a half rest. It gets 2 toe taps. So we're going to start off with our open parentheses, shift 9, and then we're at the beginning of the measure. So we start off with 1 and it gets 2 toe taps. So we have to put another beat. So we're also going to type 2 and then we're going to close our parentheses, shift 0 to close it off. Move to the next yellow box, look at the symbol above it. Now we have an open circle with a stem. We know that's called a half note, and it gets 2 toe taps. We already have 1 and 2 and, so what comes next? What comes after 2? 3. So we're going to type 3 and then we're also going to type 4 and, because the half note gets 2 beats, 3 and 4 and. We're going to cross the bar line and go into the next measure, which tells us we have to start again at 1 in our counting. Look above the text box. We have a quarter note, 1 and. Next yellow box, another quarter note. What comes next? 2 and. Next yellow box, another quarter note. What comes after 2? 3 and. Next yellow box, yet another quarter note. What comes after 3 and? 4 and. So now we have the counts written in for the whole line. Now we're going to go back and turn on our metronome at 72. This is the speed that you will record your video, but let's practice it. I'll count and clap it 1 time while you follow along and listen, and then you can clap it and count it as practice with me. I'm already tapping my toe down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That toe has to go the whole time. Down, up, here I go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. Were you able to follow all of that? Remember, when you've got longer notes, you have to hold your hands. So dotted half, 3 toe taps, 1 and 2 and 3 and. In measure 3, the half note that starts on beat 3, it gets 2 toe taps, so we have to hold it. 3 and 4 and. Make sure you're not clapping twice when you see a dotted half note, and you're not clapping twice when you see a half note that gets 2 toe taps. Follow along again. I'm going to clap and count. You watch. Down, up, here I go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. Do it with me now. See if you can follow and keep up. Get your toe tapping. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, hit, 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 hit. Keep that toe steady right with the click. Here we go together. Down, up, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. How did you do? Were you able to keep up? Did you get a little lost? That's okay. Let's do it together again. Practice makes better. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Keep that toe tapping. And down, up, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. Hopefully that was a little bit better that time. As always, you can pause the video, rewind it, do it with me as many times as you need to until you're awesome at it. The last thing you need to do for this counting lesson 4 is go to Flipgrid, record yourself clapping and counting with the metronome at 72, and then go back into Google Classroom and hit turn in.